Happy Tuesday. It's a major week. This is Divots and Pivots. I'm Andrew LeDuc, a.k.a. Mr. Mallard. This is Bud Copeland, the chief of morale, and we are the Divots and Pivots to Grace Airways every Tuesday night here on That Sports Podcast Network. Bud, Long Leap. Is that what that said? Long Leap, your coffee mug? It's a new addition to your rotation of mugs on the show. Is it a new cup?
Well, it's the Open Championship week. The Open week. Apparently, their marketing department wants us to drop the championship, just like they don't want us to call it the British Open. But I mean, listen, I'm either going to call it the British Open or the Open Championship. You cannot have your cake and eat it too. Look how that turned out for Marie Antoinette. Longleaf was was round 2 of the U.S. Open week, 72-hole Stableford with Christian that ended in a tie. We went to Longleaf Family and Golf Club. Down in Pinehurst. Again, Pinehurst, the rumors are true. Everything you hear, it's just you can't really spit without hitting a golf course. And so Longleaf was one of the spots. I'm a whore for merch. Just gonna say it. I mean,
I've seen the pictures.
Let's see. We've got the Pete Diet French Lick. I've got my U.S. Open quarter zip. Yeah, I got the Longleaf. I wasn't gonna go with a quarter zip or a polo or a hat or anything kind of meaningful when I was at the other 2 spots. We did Tot Hill Farm and Tobacco Road, which basically I had to take out a mortgage for. Just all the swag that we bought, and then the other 2 courses were Longleaf, which was a very nice course. And it was a kind of a traditional family. And when I say family, I mean, like it's through a residential community and they have the US junior golf, vibe going on. That's where they've got a whole teaching center. They host the worlds there and stuff. So Longleaf, I bought a coffee mug there because I liked it that much. Usually my go-to is a poker chip. If they sell poker chips, I'm buying a poker chip. That's what I have a small collection growing of out in my I was about to say my garage, but now that we can't fit a car or, either one of our cars in there, I think it's now the golf room. So that's what Longleaf is. Longleaf is there's the 2-minute answer to your 10-second question in our opener. That's what we got going on tonight with Longleaf. There's coffee in there because it's been a long day for me. I was up early. We had a mass amateur. We had an amateur qualifier today for the public links.
Yes.
And then after that, I decided I had enough daylight. I went out and played 18 more holes at my home course, kind of getting ready for the club championship coming up. So it's been a long day. And how's morale for you? What are your opening thoughts?
Well, yeah, because I want to hear more about how it went today. So save that for
we'll get into that.
Minutes here. We'll get into that. My opening thoughts is, first off, there's a fantastic thunderstorm rolling through right now. I don't know about you, but I love thunderstorms. Two,
I never knew that about you. We haven't gone there before, but I grew up in the South where every day, and especially in the summertime between 2 and 4, it's going to rain. And then you get these nighttime thunderstorms that just light up the sky. I'm a sucker for thunderstorms for sure.
It's my main purpose for, wanting a farmer's porch just so I can sit out and watch a storm. It's my main purpose for loving those so much.
And sit there and go, we needed this.
Exactly. It's the most dad thing you can say. Yeah, grass needed this. No, my opening thought is, did you see the national anthem last night?
I did not, but I'm going to catch up with you because that's all they were talking about on DP today. I caught up on my podcast when I played solo 18 out at the Meadow, for the afternoon round. And
it's a bit of a mix. It's a bit of a mixed bag because I want to tread lightly here because she did. Ingrid is her name, 4-time Grammy nominated artist. She did put out a tweet.
Spoken word. Sorry, too soon. Go ahead.
I was going to say, she did put out a tweet today apologizing, saying she was drunk and she's checked herself into a facility.
Okay, good.
So obviously, thoughts and prayers for her. Good for her for realizing that it might be an issue that has stemmed from other issues. I guess you can say. We don't know her past or whatever, but good for her for having the courage to get some help. But at face value, the rendition.
Two things can be true at the same time. I can feel for. Would you say her name is Ingrid? I'm not really
Ingrid,
hip on
I forget how to say the last name, so I don't want to butcher it. I don't have it right in front of me.
Two things can be true. She can have butchered that, and it's going to be up there with Carl Lewis and all these other people. She doesn't get a pass because she was drunk and she's an alcoholic. It's kind of like Joe, one of the Joes, Theismann, I think it was, who was hammered hammered on the sideline of a Jets game. He's wearing his big fur coat and he starts hitting on the sideline reporter. And it comes out later, you know, like, sorry, I've had a problem for years. Like, all right, go get cleaned up. But that clip is going to live forever, just like that performance. A double, like you said, tread lightly when you say, I want to be like, okay, you were drunk. That's no excuse. Like, we're still probably gonna mercilessly mock that moment. Like you said, go get your help. But as Rory learned, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit, you got to have thick skin when you play at that level. Because before you told me the story, I did hear about it. It is horrific, and there was speculation around everything. And that's actually what one of the guys on the show said is, I wonder if there was some sort of substance involved. So there's the answer. And because immediately I was going to say, if that wasn't the case, then let's give her a pass. I think to myself how nervous I was hitting a tee shot in front of like 5 people this morning, which I piped. It was beautiful. But I hit the ball very well today. Very, very well. A couple of mistakes kept me out. It kept me, where I was, but I hit the ball very well. I was gonna say that's tough. She went out there, she butchered it. It's not an easy song to sing in the first place. It's super, super underrated for its difficulty and its nuance, because of the register, the range of register. Like, I know what the fuck I'm talking about, but like the range of like low to high, and you have to, do all these things. Where do you stand on the national anthem? We're not talking about like stuff. We're talking about like, I will say my all-time favorite, because there's a couple, and I think you have to say, top 3 national anthem performances of all time in no particular order. Whitney Houston Super Bowl 1991 or 2 or whatever it was, Rose Bowl. That all time. Jimi Hendrix Woodstock on his guitar 1969.
We've all heard that one. Yeah, that's unbelievable.
And I really don't have
the only 2 I think I remember.
Those are the only 2 that like are just I think Chris Stapleton. Chris Stapleton recently did it at the Super Bowl, and there's your top 3. Just have those 3 do it. But it's a hard song to sing. Good for her for going out there and giving it a rip. And get the help that you need. Call back soon. So, opening thoughts. Anything else to add to your opening thoughts, or was that it? Because
really just because I actually got to it late. All my buddies were sending me Snapchats of it, but not of the video, just like pictures of it and like funny comments, and I was like, what the hell did I miss? Because I didn't watch the Home Run Derby last night. I just can't bring myself to do it. I was actually I was playing in a cornhole tournament last night here locally, so that was fun. Lost, but whatever.
You have a life and kids, and no disrespect to the people who watched it, because I used to geek out. I mean, listen, I'm gonna be up at 3 a.m. Thursday morning watching golf. So bring all your hate if you want. But no, the Home Run Derby's dumb. I think it's. It
didn't used to be dumb though. It used to be awesome.
It used to be, but listen, we also did. Here's the thing: Home Run Derby, slam dunk contest. I think that I do think that Home Run Derby and like 3-point contest, those 2 are kind of not monotonous, but I mean low risk for getting injured. Dunking, I can see why guys don't want to go up there and do all the acrobatics anymore when you're making 60, 70, $80 million a year, whatever it is now. And so with the Home Run Derby, I think it depends on the place. And this is another argument I was hearing somebody say earlier. When you get a backdrop like Fenway, and of course we're partial here in New England, but when you get a backdrop like Fenway and you see Mark McGwire hitting shit over roads and into buildings, or even Wrigley Field where you can get that, or out in San Francisco where you got McCovey's Cove and right field where it's splashing into the water, there's got to be something more than just it goes into the stands and then we see this big number up on the screen, because I don't think that does it justice to of how far these balls are going. And just how hard they're being hit. So, a Home Run Derby, rip for me. Opening thoughts on this side of the panel. Golf is hard. Your boy's an alternate right now. I missed the cut by 1. So if one of the 15 guys, I think there was, it's 16. So if one of the 16 guys ahead of me, or 2 of the 16 guys ahead of me drop in the next couple of weeks, I'll go. But
so your first alternate though?
I think it's me. I don't know how they do it. There's me and 2 other guys who tied at 6 over. But I mean, I turned it 1 over, and then I'll tell you, the back 9, I had 2 bad swings and a 3-putt, and right there was about 4 strokes. I had one excusable or like understandable bogey early on where I just got a bad break, ended up on a tree root and had to just kind of nub it out. But on the 10th tee, I stuck to my game plan. I just made a bad swing and got a little aggressive and pulled something left in the woods where I was trapped, I had to go almost backwards just to get an angle to get back into the fairway because it hit a tree and just shot left. So I took my medicine. I went out there and then I lipped out to save my bogey and there was my double. So it could have been that, or it could have been the 3-putt, 4 holes later, after coming off a birdie, feeling really hot. And then I just blast it by 5 feet and can't make the comeback. So there was just one or two. I'm getting close. I'm knocking on the door. I go back to I'm okay saying this. I'm a goddamn wizard with wedges. Some of the up and downs I made, or some of the shots I was hitting with my wedges today, very happy about that. And then my playing partners were great. So my opening thoughts are morale's high. We still have one more chance for the qualifier this year. In a couple of weeks, I'm going back to Crystal Lake, site of previous qualifiers. I feel a lot better about this chance. It is a mid-am, so the field's a little tougher. +6 won't even sniff it. I'll probably have to shoot right around par. But I've shot par or better at this course before, even in tournament conditions. And that's the last thing about my opening thoughts is it hurts to do it sometimes. And so that's why when I was done, I was one of the first groups out. I went out back out to the meadow. I played 18 holes from the tips because nobody was out there. And we got the club championship coming up. And I played it down. I played everything tournament conditions. And I think I shot 1 over. Felt good. The 36th hole of the day, I hit some good shots, yada, yada, whatever. Try it sometime. Play the ball down, play all the rules, hit cups, don't rake 3-footers, don't give yourself shit. You do it a time or two. And it really will bring out, do you love this game? Or, you really want to challenge yourself? Or do you want to go out, have some beers, hit some shots, make some putts. And if that's your vibe, keep your vibe. Golf, competitive
both ways are very acceptable to play golf.
Yeah, tournament golf's not for everybody. And I'm not saying like, oh, you got to be tough to do it. No, you just got to, I don't have patience for other things that people like to do. And this is my thing. And so I feel good about it. The scar tissue's starting to build a little bit more. And I can literally, like I said, I can pinpoint the 3 things that cost me about 4 strokes that were the difference in my day. So,
well, again, that's key to be able to know exactly where you left some on the table. Basically, that's a big step in the mental game. I would assume.
Yeah, and to top it all off, I didn't putt great. Other than that, it was an awesome day. No, I left. I left probably 4 or 5 birdie putts, just 6 inches short, right in the heart.
Oh, and that's so frustrating when you leave them just short, because long you can deal with, but short's like you just kick yourself. I get it.
And so you just that's how close it was to being a day. One of the highlights of the day for me, though, shout out Bay State Golf again. I've talked about him before. His name is Sean Melia. I think he's the editor for New England Golf Journal, but he has his own account, Bay State Golf. His goal is to play all 20. There's more than 20 golf courses in Massachusetts, all the golf courses in Massachusetts. But we crossed paths and he was like, "Hey, bud, this bud's for you." And he's like, "Sean Melia, Bay State Golf. Good to see you." So we chatted. Kudos to him. He shot 4 over. He was T10. He's moving on. So,
nice.
But that was a fun moment for me. I got to act like I was famous for a minute, even though
he got recognized in person.
Yeah, well, he reached out a couple weeks ago because he was playing a practice round, and unfortunately, I was traveling and I couldn't go. I think last thing about the opening thoughts, and then we'll move on because it's a big week. We got a couple of things to clean up, and then we got to talk about the Open.
Yeah.
I was very proud of I was never out of it mentally the whole time. Great, whatever. But I was able to play this course blind and wasn't really intimidated by it. Like I was able to trust my yardages, pick a line and hit it. Didn't have any local knowledge to go off of, just what I could see in front of me and what I could see on the green book. So it was a good day for Boudreaux on the fairways. Not a great day, and there's always next time.
I'm glad to hear it.
Anything else to tidy up on that front? No. Good, great, grand, wonderful. What happened last weekend in golf? Oh God. It was a weekend for basically for the nations, especially Spain. Carlos Alcaraz won Wimbledon. Spain won Euro. And then
that was the second Wimbledon in a row too, right?
Yeah. And there's a new sheriff in town, or Jefe in town. And then Sergio wins a live event. I think that's a big deal for Sergio, but I was just throwing it in there because he's Spanish. Yeah. As DP pointed out, still not playing in the Open. And it does go to show the kind of impact that Liv's just not happening. Can we shit on Liv for a minute? Victor Hovland just came out this week saying that, he flat out admitted it. Yeah, I was talking to Liv. Yeah, they're throwing wonderful money around. He goes, but I've already made a bunch of money. And
I think they were talking to more than half the tour.
Everybody. They were throwing everybody, because also these agents represent a lot of, my people represent a lot of different players. So he just said the product. He didn't like the product. And I think that's the kind of bottom line. He goes, maybe in 20 years when I'm on the tail end of my career, sure, it sounds like it'd be a fun thing. Exactly. Or you got a guy like Dean Burmester who just flat out says, I did it. Like I'm not like these guys. I didn't have that financial stability and they were offering me a ton of money, of course. Now, or like Richard Bland, he's cashed in. I look forward to open week. Glad we got our 2 minutes of Liv. It was Liv Andalusia and whatever. It was at Valderrama that hosted the 97 Ryder Cup. But have you heard the scuttlebutt about Liv and possibly, I want to say it was Whistling Straits or something out west. I can't remember which one. Who's Liv talking to? They're starting to court another kind of big name course.
Yeah, no, you're right. And now that you bring this up, I had completely forgot about it. It was a course that
Chambers Bay out in Washington, the 2015 U.S. Open won by Jordan Spieth, or lost by Dustin Johnson.
Yeah, they're trying to get that into their rotation now. Which whatever. Chambers Bay, do what you need to do from a business standpoint. Yeah, go for it.
I still just think that Liv is gonna kind of meander on.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's enough golf courses that have out there that have been on PGA. Like it's gonna happen. They're gonna be playing in some courses where they used to play at when they were on tour, that the tour has held, major events at. It's gonna happen. It's until they stick their nose in a place like Pebble Beach or something like with that marquee name, which is never gonna happen. But if that happens, then all of a sudden I think we have a new story. But as far as what courses they're playing at, doesn't mean a lick of shit to me.
A lick of shit doesn't mean a lick of shit to me, he says. All right, what else do we have left to tidy up before we get into the Open Championship, our fantasy stuff? What else is happening?
So real fast, we did get the confirmation that we were in fact correct, as always, like we always are about Tiger Woods. That Tiger Woods,
thank you.
It was hard to turn down the Ryder Cup captaincy, but he did it just because of the other commitments he has in his life right now, which leads right into both of our thoughts, is that eventually he will do this. He's just trying to get some other things in order first. It seems like he just has his attention in too many spots at the moment.
Yeah, not to mention, I wouldn't be shocked if he's thinking to himself, "Hey, gang, I might want to play in one or two more of these too before I suit up." You like that? I like that. My emergency. So that's my emergency outfit for if I sweat through everything in my golf bag. All my shit scattered everywhere because it was 100.
It was a tournament day,
1,000 degrees outside at the end of the day. No, I'm glad you mentioned Tiger because it's a good little pivot into Open Championship. We'll start with some of the kind of the scuttlebutt and some of just the talk of the town. We'll talk about Royal Troon, the course. I was looking through some of the tee times. I want to point out and shout out a handful of those, and then I got a fun little game for you at the end of which would you rather.
That's funny because I have a little fun game for you too.
And then, of course, as always, we will finish with our newest addition to Divots and Pivots, a little 5 minutes of fantasy football. Doesn't have to be 5. I'm just a fan of alliteration. So Tiger in the presser. I had this starred and I totally forgot about it because I blacked out for about 36 hours to focus on golf. Golf. So good, though. If you missed it, Colin Montgomery, large colon is what we used to call him back in the day. He was, I'm sorry. He really is. I think
good, though. He just opens his mouth too much in the wrong situation. He's made a habit of it.
Yeah, he talks shit about Tiger, and then Tiger wins the Masters by a million shots. This is why I picked Tiger this week in my other league as my 5th tier dark horse. Kind of my real dark horse winner. We'll talk about later, but I wouldn't be shocked if Tiger did something. Although it's going to be chilly, as long as it doesn't rain. It's going to be like kind of chilly and windy. Traditional Scottish weather. It looks like it might rain on Saturday, but Tiger Woods is playing in the Open Championship. First time in God knows how long he's played in all 4 majors. Good for him. Large Colin Montgomery, Scotsman that he is. came out and basically was like, I'm going to paraphrase. It's sad. He's
Yeah.
basically talking about how like it's sad when players don't know when to hang it up, and unfortunately, nobody's going to tell him that it's time, that kind of thing. So somebody in the presser asks Tiger about Colin's
Hmm.
comments, and all Tiger says in true Tiger fashion, he doesn't have to address the comment at all. All he says is, "I'm exempt until I'm 60." Unfortunately, Colin not being a past champion is not exempt, so he doesn't have to worry about making that decision.
Yep. It was
Why?
so perfect.
Why do people do it? Why do you?
I know.
It's
And the reporter phrase, like the way the reporter phrased the question was like textbook perfect too, like talking about how, does this make you feel like you take offense to this because you should get to decide when you retire, nobody should to but obviously I'm not wording it like him, but the reporter did a fantastic job. Tiger's answer was fantastic. The
yeah.
entire exchange was like professionalism at its best, but also a nice jab in there.
We forget. I mean, I think people forget sometimes that Tiger Woods is not just the best golfer in the modern game, in the history of the game, whatever argument you want to make. He's in a tier unto himself. Him and Jack, maybe Bobby Jones, but it's not just that he's an elite golfer. He's an elite human. If it wasn't this, it would have been something else. He would have studied. He would have been a Navy SEAL. He would have studied physics. He would have been a general. He was whatever Earl put in front of Tiger, or whatever Tiger decided he wanted to do, or whatever Tita said, it's your calling. Tiger's, got something in him that's a little bit different. I mean, Mike had it, Pete Sampras had it in tennis where it's just like, Novak Djokovic, these guys just have a gear. Venus Williams, perfect example too, where for about 10, 15 years, what are we even talking about? It was like Steffi Graf back in the day. So when you kind of poke them, and I just like to see the reaction. And I kind of wish that Colin was playing. So he was in the field. Maybe he got some exemption or something like that, but he's not good enough. He didn't have that big enough, no disrespect. Yeah. He's a hell of a golfer. He's a legacy maker, and he made his mark mostly through Ryder Cups. Sure. But that was one of the most beautiful things I saw in the pressers this week. Another Tiger kind of fun little story. Did you see the Rory? They finally asked Rory about his U.S. Open stuff.
Yeah, Rory accidentally ghosted Tiger on text.
Yeah. The telling thing for me is he changed his number. So if you missed it, at the presser, they asked Rory, we hear that Tiger sent you a text after the U.S. Open. What did that mean to you? And he goes, yeah, I actually just found out about it myself because I changed my number 2 days after the U.S. Open. And he did say at the Scottish Open, when everybody was saying, why didn't you talk to us? When he said he changed his number, I mean, he really is. And he also had another answer to a question where most golfers don't go down this road, but where they said, do you think the game kind of owes you something now? And he's like, I've never thought that this game owed me anything. He's like, but after St. Andrews and then LA Country Club and then Pinehurst, he's like, I'm starting to think maybe I'm due. And I like that levity, and I like that kind of humility and vulnerability to him show. It does fucking matter. So, kudos to Rory. He gets makeup points for kind of bolting after the U.S. Open, especially because it's almost like, no disrespect for you guys. I didn't talk to Tiger Woods. So like, if it just to put in perspective on where you all are or were.
Exactly.
And I was critical of Rory at the moment. I will still stay objectively critical of him from a kind of, that's how the game is played. Now, I just like the story and how it's all playing out, and I understand it. I can empathize with it. So good for Rory. I'll tell you right now, I'm going to come out early. He's my pick this week. Nice. He's going to be a popular pick, and there's going to be a lot of popular picks. There's a shit ton of talent up there, and guys who are all kind of clicking on all cylinders, but it was good to see him in form, both kind of emotionally, physically. He played well last week. Speaking of last week, we'll tidy that up and then kind of go full pivot after we say hi to our friends at Underdog. Bobby Mack, did you catch the Scottish Open finish, or at least watch the replay?
So I was actually watching the back nine of the final round when I was out to lunch with my parents. So yeah, I did, and I mean, Aubert, I thought he had it locked in for most of the weekend there, and then all of a sudden he did what he did, and Bobby Mack takes advantage and swoops right in, just like he seems to do when he smells blood. Just like at the Ryder Cup, he just locks in and he gets it done. So, look, Bobby Mack is gonna get himself a major eventually. I am fully convinced of that at this point.
Well, and I like that he's kind of doing this. There's certain players who rack up. Matthew Pavon's one of them. He's got the French Open, the Italian Open, like the Australian Open or whatever it is. Rory's got a bunch of
in the US and the Olympics.
Yeah, I kind of like Robert McIntyre. He's got the Canadian Open now. He's got the Scottish Open. You know, if he's got is he going to go for I think they need to call it like they're all Commonwealth countries. They're all former or current, protectorates or whatever you want to call it of the crown. Geography teacher. So Bobby Mack, that was a cool story to see. The 20. Yes. It's you said Ludwig Aubert. Adam Scott was sitting in the clubhouse with a 2-shot lead. With like 3 to play.
I wanted Adam Scott to get it too. I was watching. Too. I was mainly who I was watching in that back nine, and I was like, oh man, Adam Scott's gonna get this. I was really rooting for that. I just thought it was gonna be Aubert that snuck past him at the end, and that just went south. So, but I'm so happy with McIntyre.
All right, let's pay homage to our friends at Underdog, and then we'll come back and dig back into the Open Championship.
Fantasy Sports Corp and Underdog Fantasy have teamed up to start your fantasy season off in the win column with Best Ball. What is Best Ball? It's quite simply the easiest way to win. No team management, no trades, no waivers. It's their biggest contest ever, and it has only gotten bigger. You simply have to sit and win. You don't even have to set your lineup. Always get your best score every week. Just enter a contest, draft your team, and Underdog will do the rest. What could make this even better? How about free money, up to $100 using our exclusive promo code? Go online now and use the promo code DIVPIV to double your deposit up to $100. You tell them Gingerbread sent you. Good girl.
Gingerbread, as always, good girl. Let's get into because there's no other news stories I don't think you want to tackle before we hit this Open, right? I think we're good. Just fly right in.
If we could get lost down a rabbit hole. There's so many different amateurs and shit going on right now. And also the Evian Championship. I can't remember the woman's name. Japanese lady, the third major winner from Japan. Look out, up and coming especially in the LPGA game. But obviously Hideki and what he's done over here. Royal Troon Golf Club before 19. When did they get their royal designation? It was in like the 70s, something like that. I think it was at 1978. It becomes Royal Troon. Before that, it's just Troon. 7,300 yards, par 71, and it's a bear because it's a links golf course. It's right there on the water on the Firth of some bullshit. I don't know, the Firth of Fourth of Fifth, but it's right there on the water. Strong winds. And what's something cool about this course this year? It's going to feature the longest hole in Open Championship history. It's going to be like a 650-yard par 5. The thing is, it's supposed to play downwind.
Yeah,
so it's supposed to be like. Both par 5s, I think on the front are like 590 and 650, and they're both reachable because of the wind and the run on the ball. So it's link style golf to the core. The last time I think the Open was here was like 2016. Henrik Stenson, who him and Phil went back and forth, 63-65 on Sunday, with the 63 obviously winning and setting a scoring record there. Fun fact: Troon did host the 2020 AIG Women's Open. So, I mean, they've been active recently, especially with the women's game finally starting to get into the Rota. We saw over here with the USGA getting into Pebble Beach, and they're going to Riviera, and they're going to these courses that have traditionally been just for the men's Opens, and you're starting to see that over here with the RNA. So kudos to them. I think aside from the longest hole in history, the par 3 8th is probably what it's most famously known for, the postage stamp green. This is becoming almost a signature that the people are digging it. LA Country Club really went low. I think one of the days it was 83 yards or 79 yards. This thing at its shortest is 99. Stock yardage is 123. But just like the name suggested, the green is the size of a postage stamp, and it's protected by 5 deep bunkers. And gang, these are not your grandfather's country club bunkers. These are, Open Championships, 6, 7, 8 feet deep. bunkers that sometimes it's going to be another one. You guys are going to have to play out sideways. You're going to have to play out backwards.
Well, there's also no flat spots in these bunkers. These things are pretty much all slopes too. Like, I don't know if you saw some of the ones that the clips that Tiger was practicing out of. Like, he looked annoyed and frustrated, but in the way that he was accepting the challenge, where he was also like, "Shit, this is hard." Basically, he said it in better words, but he said this is not a good spot. So I believe it's exactly what he said.
Have you seen it's on the postage stamp hole, the coffin bunker? Literally, it's called a coffin bunker because look up the coffin bunker, and it's because I think at the base it is 6 feet down or whatever, but it's it's just a box. It's a rectangle off to one of the sides where it looks like there's nothing you can do but go out long ways. And that's the fun thing about this golf course and about links golf in general. You just have to see guys hit different types of shots. I was proud of some of the shots I had to hit today. Go ahead.
It's always a good sign when the bunker has a railing and a set of stairs to get into it.
Yeah.
So you're screwed.
So Royal Troon Golf Club, though, nothing really fancy other than like St. Andrews has the history because it's the home, the RNA and everything. This is just another spot on the Rota. It's a private golf club. Now it's up to 45 holes up and down the coast. And so it's their turn, and it has had some good history again. Like we said, the 2016 battle between Phil and Henrik Stenson, who are past champions. So we Todd Hamilton in 2004. Who can forget Todd Hamilton? God knows I did, literally. Justin Leonard in 97. That was a fun Open Championship, besting Jesper Parnevik. Jesper Parnevik used to wear his hat. He was a Swede, and he used to wear his hat flipped up. That was kind of his signature. And then Tom Watson, 1982, he won his fourth here. But yeah, we could go on and on and on. Sophia Popov, last piece, the 2020 Women's Open, that Sophia Popov, that was her first win on any real professional level. That was a big deal. I think she was ranked like 303rd in the world at the time. Somebody can fact check me on that.
See, I want to start a new segment on this show where I try to stump you with a random piece of golf history or knowledge or whatever, and see if I can, how many times I get. You remember Stump the Schwab or whatever the title was called on ESPN? Like, yeah. You'll be my Schwab, and I'll stump you with random golf stuff. I'm gonna kick you off with one random fact right here. See if you know this. What's the one thing? Well, maybe not just the one thing, but what's something that's the oldest and youngest to ever win the Open Championship have in common?
Say that one more time.
So what's something that the oldest person to win the Open Championship and the youngest person ever to win the Open Championship have in common? I'll give you a hint. Huh?
DNA.
I don't know. I guess, yeah, they could. It's old Tom Morris and young Tom Morris. I'm assuming it's father son, right? Okay. I couldn't tell by the ages because it happened 1 year apart from each other too. 1867 and 1868. Old
Tom Morris was old when they started this. So the Open Championship was the Open Championship, and he was not the first. He was not the first winner of the Open. Who was the very first winner of the Open Championship? That's the one that I can't believe. Open Championship winner won. Oh my God, why am I blanking? It's gonna fucking kill me when I see it.
I feel like I saw it earlier too.
Willie Park Sr. All right, so before the first Open Championship, there was another guy that was bumming around. Can't remember his name, but he was considered the best golfer. Everybody knew it, hands down. This guy was the best. Nobody really kind of contested it. Well, then Bestie kicks it. And that's when St. Andrews sends up not St. Andrews, sorry. That's when they send up the flag, what am I saying? The flare. Send your best golfers over to wherever the Port Rush or Prestwick, whoever Prestwick hosted the first one. We're going to settle this once and for all. And then that's where Willie Park Sr. won it. But then old Tom Morris went on a tear, won like 4 and 5 years, something like that. And then his son won a handful in a row. His son actually is the reason they had to stop. They had to have a break after he won his third consecutive. He got to take the championship belt home, and then nobody wanted to pony up the dough to have a replacement belt. And so they just didn't have a tournament 1 year.
It was 1871. They did not have the tournament.
Yeah. And they just didn't have a trophy. And so then once they finally kind of came to their senses, the claret jug was eventually introduced. And now there's a couple of claret jugs, the one that you see everybody drinking out of and that kind of stuff. That's not that's not the one. That's the
Yeah.
champions one. The original old cert, like that one.
Yeah.
That one sits at the RNA Clubhouse on display
with no patina left on it, and just that's the old one. But yeah, no, I just thought that was fun. The fact that they did it 1 year apart, because that's the type of stuff that I don't know without looking it up. But shocker, you knew it. You knew that they were related, and that was the first. That 1968 one was the first one. Yeah, that, like you said, he won 4 in a row, young Tom Morris. So, yeah, a little fun fact there. But as you said before, Royal Troon is going to be basically your standard league style course. As far as when we're trying to break it down for the type of things we're looking at here, you're going to want guys who can putt. You're going to want guys who have a good short game. These balls are going to run out on a lot of holes. Wind will play a factor. So there's all the same kind of factors. It's going to be similar to what we were looking at for this past week for the Genesis Scottish Open. So I like the same thing. I like I said, approach, putting off the tee, and short game. I'm sticking to 4 this week. I'm going to narrow it down. I'm sticking to 4. I like the results I got, and I'm calling it. I'm calling it there.
That's a good call.
Not going to overcomplicate it this week.
Another fun British Open thing, because of his performances at the Open Championship, even though Tom Watson has 5, Jack Nicklaus is on a 5-pound British note. I think I brought this up on the show before because I actually have it. It's framed. And he's the only time. It's the only time that the Royal Bank of Scotland ever issued a banknote displaying the image of a living person that's not part of the royal family, and it's an American golfer. So you just kind of, but that kind of history goes back. I mean, that's why when Bobby Jones came over, he won over the crowd. Like, he won over the gentleman and the crowd with his performance. And then they kind of took him in, they make him honorary members. That's where he gets the idea for everybody having green jackets, because he liked how everybody was wearing matching jackets over here. And so there's a kind of a long history. Tom Watson, again, winning 5, almost 6, a couple years ago at the age of 59. And then obviously with Jack, what he's done, Tiger has a huge reverence for this. He's won a handful, and I'm telling you, man, it's just the way he's talking, the confidence that he's building, and he's very aware. He's not going to set a bar for himself, but he does say every time when I go out there to compete, to win. I say Tiger's a good bet to make the cut this week.
I feel like it too.
But he would not shock me to win. I said Rory's my pick to win, and I know we're going to go through our 9 in a couple minutes, but I will say that my dark horse winner, Cam Young. Look out for Cam Young, because he's been knocking, he's racking up those runner-up finishes in general. But one of those close calls was at the Open Championship recently, and he's a shot maker. And you got to be creative at Open Championships. You're not going to guys who just hit stock golf shots or whatever. They're not gonna, you're not gonna really compete, because the elements are going to take over. I'm very curious to see how Bryson performs around this place. Because you talk about somebody who's all about just angles and lines and just, boom, all you have to do is calculate it. And he's no longer the bomb and gouge, bomb it, find it. He's got that club. He can still bang it out there if he needs to, but with his 3D printed, forgiving, curved face eyes, I say look out for Bryson, because he too can play. I've never seen it, so I don't really think he has the kind of acrobatics that maybe Tiger does with his short game, or even Justin Thomas or Jordan Spieth, those guys who are kind of artists around the greens. Bryson doesn't strike me as that kind of guy, but that these guys can all hit the shots. He's probably like, I just don't need to. So I'm curious to see, because his swing also lends itself to just hitting these fucking long bump and runs, or because of his length, if the wind's not bad, he can get it up there or ride the wind. So look out for Bryson too. I mean, it's going to be a chalky week. Last year, I think Brian Harmon kind of came out of nowhere last year, and really he did it by catching lightning in a bottle with his 65 that was 8 strokes better than the.
It really was just that average. One day, and then he just then he just played a nice, controlled, safe game from there. He had the one round.
Yeah,
last year was also. The weather last year was brutal, wasn't it? Like pouring the entire time too. Like last year was a funky Open.
Well, and that's it. That's all you have to do is really kind of, I don't say it's all you have to do, but
I know what you mean, though.
It is about not stumbling when other people stumble. And Tiger even said that. They were asking him about his majors and which one stings the most or what, and he's talking about the one where Y.E. Yang came back and beat him in a PGA championship. He's like, I had the lead. that he's like, and I just made stupid mistakes. I mean, again, I feel like good. Not that it's all about me. I'm not so disappointed in my round and missing it today because I didn't make any just poor decisions. I just made a couple of swings where I wasn't fully focused and made bad swings, and I had a 3-putt. I mean, and that's the level, the kind of line of demarcation. So, me, Tiger, basically going through the same struggles.
Yeah.
What else?
Come from the same cloth.
Something I noticed real quick, and I want to walk through some of these tee times with you because
Sure.
if you're a sicko like me, I've never asked this. Are you a morning person? Like, what time do you wake up in the morning?
I'm usually up early. Like, I'm usually starting to wake up, 5-ish. So I get more done in the morning than I do in the afternoon. So I try to get going.
So you and I are basically we're stereotyping. Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm best time of day. Nobody's around. You can get stuff done.
Exactly. So, show up at the grocery store, knocking on the door for them to open so you can get it in and out. Yeah.
Listen, stop and shop at 7:05 is kind of a peaceful time to go get your shopping, go get your stuff done. If you're a morning person, you might have to push it back an extra hour if you want it live, but coverage is going to start at like 1:45 in the morning on Peacock. And then I think it's going to go over to USA at like 4. Notable tee times, notable groupings for days 1 and 2. And remember, remember they play in the same group for 2 days. They just invert their tee times. If you're the first one out on day 1, you're gonna be the last one out on day 2, and vice versa. All right, so some of these groups are actually I got a bunch that I just want to throw at you. 3. I don't give a shit about the time. The groupings though: John Daly, Aaron Rai, and Santiago de la Fuente, who is the Latin American amateur. How about that? If you're Santiago de la Fuente, you get to play with John Daly at an Open Championship.
Right. That sounds awesome. This just sounds like the best time.
I fucking love that. All right, we got John Rahm, Tommy Fleetwood, Robert McIntyre. That's juicy.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Finau, Russell Henley, Matthew Pavon. Matthew Pavon needs to do something. I feel like he
came out so hot.
Yeah, he's losing his allure. I don't care anymore. And obviously, everybody's goal in life is to be on my radar. And then we get into the morning wave on day 1, the sweet spots. We got Ludwig Aubert, Bryson DeChambeau, and Tom Kim. Ooh,
great.
Brian Harmon, Victor Hovland, Sahith Theegala. That is good. I don't think there's a lot of star power there, but it's like you can't ignore that group. Yep. And then Rory McIlroy, Max Homa, and Tyrrell. That's going to be a fun crew. And then Keegan Bradley, Will Zalatoris, and Gordon Sargent. Gordon
Sargent pops back up again, huh?
Gordon Sargent already has his PGA Tour card. He's going back to Vanderbilt for 1 more year. Good for him. I wouldn't give up a SEC football season either. And then this is kind of a feel-good group. First of all, if you missed, we blew right past this. Full stop. This should have been my opening thought. This should have been the feel good moment of the weekend. Ernie Els has a son, and I don't know if he's autistic or if he's got Down syndrome. He's on the spectrum. He's definitely special needs. Ernie Els, and I say he's youngish. He's teenage years, maybe a young adult, but Ernie Els won on the PGA Tour Champions, and his son was there, like on the green, the hugs, the clapping, and you get the feeling like this might be. And I didn't read enough, and I apologize. I should have done some research on this, but I got the feeling by the way people were reacting is this is the first time that Ernie's won. It's kind of like when Tiger won in 2019, like first time that his kid was old enough to kind of appreciate it and like understand and see it. Yeah. And I would have to fact check myself, but you saw the look on that on the family's face. And Ernie was even saying if he didn't have to go to the Open Championship this week, that celebration was going to be going on and on and on. And so to see Ernie Els out there, he's going to be Ernie Els, Gary Woodland, and Alton Vander Merwe. 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 He's the
fellow South African, though.
And he is the inaugural African amateur winner, and that's what he punched his ticket to the Open Championship. Okay. And then we'll fly through this last half dozen because this is just all kind of star power. This is what we would call the afternoon wave, even though it's just the late morning wave, and it's going to be a fun group. Jason Day, Benny Hahn, Ricky Fowler kicks it off, and because this is where you can tell, they stack 2 pockets of featured groups. This is the other one. Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, and Joost Luiten, who is just a DP World Tour top 30 guy. That's how he got in. Phil
Yep.
Mickelson, Wyndham Clark, Hideki Matsuyama, and Brooksy. That's sneaky
Yeah.
good. I feel like that's like the sternest Zenist group in the world.
Yeah, that's one. So honestly, that's one where they're not going to get a ton of camera time because there's not going to be much happening other than just straight quick golf.
I don't think because I don't think, well, Hideki's not a quote unquote quick golfer. He's not Patrick Cantlay, but he's not Brooksy. And Wyndham takes his time too. So it's going to be hilarious to see. I say the over.
Actually, you're right.
So I don't know how good Hideki's English is. He always has that interpreter. They said at the Masters dinner, he did give his speech in English. Like he learned his speech in English, which everybody was super impressed by. And they thought that was kind of a cool gesture. Yeah. But I don't know how much him and like Brooksy, I don't know how much they're all going to be chatting. I'm just going to keep an eye on that. Right after them, Tiger, Xander, and Patrick Cantlay. Love that. Colin Morikawa, Sam Bird, Siwoo Kim. Colin Morikawa. Remember, he won in 2021. It was his first Open Championship. He had just come off that, and he was gangbusters. He's missed the last 2 Open cuts.
Yes.
Just
he's starting to play a little bit better now, though. We'll get to that, but he's starting to play a little bit better right now.
And then these last 2, this group personally, I would love to be a fly on the wall and play with Shane Lowry, Cam Smith, and Matty Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Just
like some personalities that are also like opposite personalities, but strong personalities.
Well, I mean, it's Cam Smith being the live guy and Matty Fitzpatrick saying on full swing, like, no, fuck them. They can't never come back. I got to know if those hatchets have been buried. Rory talked like they were, where he's like, yeah, it's great. It's great to see everybody. This is the only time, 4 times a year now. And then last but certainly not least, Cam Young, Jordan Spieth, Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler. I think it's how quick we forget. Like I'm talking about Rory, and I just said his name, and I immediately went, is it gonna? Because it's not like his game doesn't travel. It's not like Scotty Scheffler can't hit shots and doesn't know, So I might have to rethink this, but.
Yeah, his putting has slid just a little bit in his recent appearances, but he's still, even with that, he's still right up there. So yeah, Scotty Scheffler is 100% in play this week. There's no doubt about it. You can't ignore that. But yeah, these tee times, the ones you just pointed out are definitely the go-to watch groups in my opinion as well. And yeah, that's probably my favorite thing.
I'm glad we agree on that.
It's probably my favorite thing about Open Championship week is early morning golf. It's gonna be fan because you know what it's the same thing when it's the Winter Olympics and curling is on at like 2 a.m. It's USA versus whoever. What I'll do, I don't know how you're gonna do it. What I'll do is I'll just roll over in bed, turn the TV on, and lay there in bed for a few hours. And I might doze off here and there, but I'll be paying attention and watching it while I'm awake. But like I'll be ready.
I'll probably set an alarm for 2 a.m. and I'll pop an earbud in, or I'll put on some headphones, put it back on, and then just kind of close my eyes. And if I fall back asleep, great.
Exactly.
It's on. And speaking of morning golf, if you follow at This Bud's For You, if you follow at The Real Mr. Mallard, if you follow at Divots and Pivots, we'll post later on. We might be having breakfast at the Open on Sunday if we don't have to. I've got some family in town.
Yeah, we're gonna fly over there. We're gonna have breakfast at the Open. It's gonna be
might be able to finagle a few minutes where Andrew and I can watch some golf, and you might be able to join us. So keep an eye out for that. Yes. But you make it a good point. I love morning golf. Sunday was a great day. You had the morning golf at the finish, and then you rolled right into the soccer. So big week. I was going to ask you about Scottish food, but I don't really care to talk about cockaliki soup or Scotch pie or
I wouldn't like any of it. So
which would you rather eat? Cullen skink, Lorne sausage, or haggis?
Oh, I've heard awful things about haggis. But at the same time, I don't want to eat something that sounds like some guy's name for
you don't want
sausage.
Lorne sausage. You don't want Lorne sausage. LORNE.
What were you gonna read,
dude? This is the description for haggis, and then we can give out our emergency 9 because that's what all the people are waiting for. Everybody's sitting there with bated breath, wondering what these 2 dipshits are picking for the Open Championship. This is haggis, ladies and gentlemen. In case you were curious, whoever wrote this is a liar. A savory pudding. Made from a savory pudding made from sheep's offal mixed with oatmeal, sweat, SUET, not like sweat, onions and spices encased in a sheep's stomach and
Yeah.
boiled. Before we go any further, do you know what sheep's offal is? OFFAL.
It sounds like the sheep's version of a muffin top, if you ask me, but I do not know what an offal is.
Well, no, Andrew, that would be the sheep's heart, liver, and lungs. So they take the heart, the liver, and the lungs.
They have
They
a name
make a
for that?
nice savory pudding out of it. So the savory pudding is made from a sheep's insides, and they take all that and they shove it in the stomach, and then they boil it.
Boil it, because nothing says tasty insides like boiled.
I just threw up twice while reading that.
Soft and soggy. That's
Which is good. I've cleansed my palate, so now I can give. Let me make sure I only picked 9 this week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
I've done
6,
that
7,
before.
8, 9. I've got a 10th in there. I got to drop somebody real quick.
Uh-oh.
Oh, we're dropping Brooksy. I didn't mean to select Brooksy. I don't know how that got
All
there.
right. Well, while you figure out who you're going to drop, I'm going to go ahead and give you my 9 real fast. Starting off with number 9, as always. I'm going to go with one of the hot hands right now, Davis Thompson, playing with some confidence. Also, you can get him real cheap on DraftKings right now, $6,900. Number 8, Brooks Koepka. Number 7, Bryson. 6, Scotty Scheffler, further down the list than he typically is, but Scotty Scheffler, number 6, Aaron Ryan, number 5, Bobby Mack, number 4, even though I don't think he will win this week, back-to-back tournaments and all, but he still should perform well. And then number 3, Colin Morikawa, number 2, Rory McIlroy, and I think he's been number 1 in most of my majors this year, actually, Mr. Xander Schauffele.
Well, we share the top 2 spots. I got Xander 1, Rory 2. I got Scotty higher up on mine. I got Scotty at 3. We both got Colin Morikawa. I got Colin Morikawa at 4. You've got him up there, which is funny because, like I just said, he's missed the last 2 Open cuts. Aaron Rye at number 5. He got in because of his performance last week at the Genesis Scottish Open. He was one of the 3 final qualifiers, or the 3 of the final guys to get in.
Yep.
Number 6, Brooks Koepka. 7, Ludwig Aubert. 8, Fairway Jesus, Tommy Fleetwood. I think I'm picking him because I want it to happen more so than I think it's going to happen.
He's not far out of my 9 either.
And then number 9, again, I think we blinked and forgot about this guy. He was struggling mightily. He was about to change everything. He was about to walk away for a little bit, and then he changed. He went to an old coach, showed up at the PGA, almost wins. And Victor Hovland, come on down. You're rounding out Boudreaux's emergency 9 for the Open Championship.
There's not much I can disagree with. All the guys that you said that I didn't have are within another 9 spots of my top 9. So, again, I think we're on one this week.
So yeah, and folks, this is for like if you're trying to pick winners. We're doing just a head-to-head kind of fun competition. We know there's no leverage. I know that I'm not making a 6-man lineup with Xander, Rory, Scotty, and Colin. To that point, that's why I think a guy like Cam Young, 7,500. There's some good value for you, a good history. Jordan Spieth, 7,900 as well, former champion, and he can at any moment catch lightning in a bottle over there. So there's definitely some value out there. Your boy Davis Thompson, 6,900. Why not give him a look? I mean, he won recently, I took the Davis Thompson putting tip, and it's actually helped me with my pace. I need somebody to teach me how to read greens. My pace was incredible today, and as I was short 6 inches, every single fucking time. No, but my lagging was on. I was pinned high with just about everything. So, but I took the little metronome. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4. You look at the hole, back at the ball, take it back all the way through. And having some sort of repeatable mantra also takes any kind of thought process out of it. Of like, all right, it's a 15-footer left to right. Nope, just line yourself up and then let your hands do the work. That's what she said. And then I still say be leery of leaning too much into the live guys because unless you're one of the winners. Sergio, obviously not here, but Tyrrell Hatton won recently. Brooksy still has that dog in him, even though I'm not. I didn't pick him in my other league. I think I went with Ludwig Aubert. I went with my tier 1 pick. So there it is. There's the emergency 9. There's the Open Championship. We will have breakfast on Sunday, or we'll have coffee or mimosas. Did you say you are child free this weekend?
This weekend is my child-free weekend, yes.
God. Yes. Then you might have to bust out the smoker's jacket and some morning cocktails.
That sounds fantastic. About that time will be when I'm ready to start drinking alcohol again. So
Have you been on the wagon?
your boy had a rough Sunday night totally by accident. So
Tell me. So
taking the week off.
as you know, I got 20 years of drinking out of my teens and my 20s, and then another 20 years out of my 30s, and so I hung it up. But I still like living vicariously. Did you fall ass backwards into getting fucked up? Or let me rephrase that. Pardon me. Sorry for cussing. What were you drinking?
So I was just drinking rum and lemonades, honestly. But apparently,
pause.
It's a nice summer drink.
I was just drinking rum and lemonades. That's not a summer drink. That's a hardcore. That's a hard drink. That's liquor. I love when people are like, I was just drinking, bourbon and ginger ale. I'm like, by the way, every one of those little lemonades is, if you're hand pouring, is probably what, 2-3 shots of alcohol. So tell me more.
Well, so that's where the accidental part happened. Was my last drink. A cup bigger than this cup here. So this is a normal size cup. I had like a double size cup.
An American size cup. Yeah.
Just wasn't paying attention and filled half the damn thing with rum and then just threw the lemonade in it. And Anna just looks at me and she goes, "You gonna stop?" I went, "Oh yeah, look at that. I didn't mean to do that." And then I drank it. And let's just say at some point I ended up jumping up on top of the coffee table, belted Meatloaf out at about 11 o'clock at night. So
which song?
Oh, which song was it? I don't even remember. I don't remember which song it was. I just know it was Meatloaf.
Oh, it can't be. If I would do anything for, I would do.
No, it wasn't one of those.
Was it the one that ends with like? Was it the one that ends? It's like "Love by the Dashboard Lights" or some bullshit.
That's
like
Paradise. That. Paradise by the Dashboard. No, it wasn't one of the his main ones.
Okay.
There was one just random one off of his albums. Because
God, you were on one.
I went my Meatloaf.
You went like B-side Meatloaf.
I did. I went like B-side Meatloaf on the coffee table. And then Monday I woke up and went, that's why I don't do that anymore. It had been a while since that had happened. It wasn't pretty. So yeah, taking the week to reset.
Good for you. I got family coming into town this weekend, so it's going to be interesting. And then next weekend's the club championship, and then 2 weeks after that, I got the mass mid amateur. So we still got some shots at redemption. But before that, fill us in on the Fishbowl, on the fantasy updates. What's going on in the football world?
So the Scott Fishbowl. Let's see. We're in round 20 now.
Thing never ends.
Well, it's a slow draft, so everyone's got 8 hours to pick it. So, and we have a couple guys. I think we have at least one guy in our division that is in Europe, so the time zones are playing into it a little bit. But honestly, we're still going at a much faster pace than past years for me. So, I got 3 picks left. It's turning out all right. I am quite weak at running back. It just worked out that way, but as a whole, I'm pretty happy with my team. The one thing that's big in question now is that I do have Brandon Ayuk as my number 3 wide receiver. He just officially requested a trade today from the San Francisco 49ers. So his value of what his season is going to look like is very much up in the air right now and dependent on where he goes. So that could bite me in the ass, but I think I'm deep enough at wide receiver to make up for that. So we'll see.
Questions. You know football way better than I do. Is Ayuk in a position, like you just said, he could go somewhere where he could be the top dog, or he could go somewhere and get buried, as the number 3 guy?
He would be a top dog.
Okay, so it just depends on if he's got a decent quarterback throwing to him.
Yeah, there's only a couple teams he would go to that he wouldn't be the top dog on, but those teams wouldn't be trading for him anyway. So most likely where he gets traded to, and needs to get traded because he's still in the last year of his rookie contract. He was looking for a contract extension beyond that.
San Francisco,
and they're too far away from each other. So he's now officially asked for the trade. So we'll see what happens. He could still stay too. There's still that outside chance that they figure it out, but. Usually once they request
but once they say that that's the beginning.
Yeah.
And here's my next question for the uninformed me. It sounds like the running back in NFL is dwindling in importance for the teams. Where okay, so how then, from a fantasy football perspective, does the running back become kind of like back in the day? Kickers were just like you just picked one up on the waiver wire every week. I know guys who never would carry a kicker. They're just like, why waste that? Like, I'll just grab one the night before every week. I'll just find a good matchup and grab it. Is that what's going to happen to the running back?
It very so it wouldn't get that drastic.
You'll
That
have
drastic
you'll have
because-
your McCaffrey, your Saquon Bar. You'll have a handful of those guys, but then by and large,
Yeah.
these are gonna be like committees.
But they already are committee, so that eats into there's no like
There's no Nick
bell
Chubb
cow
anymore.
back-
Nick
there's no
Chubb's
bell-
not even Nick
yeah,
Chubb anymore.
there's no bell cow backs anymore, but there's these committee backs. So it's basically now either they have to be guys that catch the ball or they have to score a lot of touchdowns. Other than that, if they're just rushing the ball and getting yards, it's not going to cut it. So now the trick is always finding the 1 or 2 guys in the committee of 3 on every team. So you end up with more running backs on your team because you have to take more chances. Is basically what it looks like now.
This is the next evolution of divots and pivots, because the one thing that both sports have in common, they're measured in yards. All right, land this plane.
There we go. That's a good point. That will do it for us. The thunderstorm is over here. We brought you the thunder and the lightning tonight. That's going to do it for us on this Tuesday night. But we'll see you next week. And actually, no, we may even see you Sunday morning for breakfast at the Open. Enjoy the Open. Go have fun on DraftKings, on Underdog, on FanDuel, whatever it is you play. We love you guys. Stay classy. See ya.